So, today I'd like to talk about something that I'm in the process of doing within the next couple of months. How to buy a car. Either through Craigslist or a dealership. The two are two totally different aspects. Because if you go through Craigslist, you're dealing with some private owner that you don't know. Dealership, you don't know them either, but at least they have some kind of credibility behind them because they've been selling cars for a while, or longer than this other person from Craigslist has. So, Craigslist, what you have to pay attention to. Make sure you talk to this person, not on a regular basis as if they're your friend, but on a regular basis so you know who you're talking to. Or at least you have something to base off of who you're talking to. Because if you go to meet them, you don't know what it's going to be like before you go to meet them. They could be some kind of Craigslist killer. You don't know. Make sure you ask for plenty of pictures before you go, because if you don't, then you go to the car and it's all dirty and everything, and you're going to say like, hey, this is not the car I expected. And they're going to respond with, well, what did you expect? And if they are not willing to provide any pictures, like if they say on their ad, I am not willing to provide any more pictures, don't trust it. Because honestly, they're probably trying to scam you. Either that or they don't have a camera. It's always a possibility, but let's stick with they're trying to scam you. So, when you get to the car, make sure it is clean, okay? Because I've gotten to go look at cars before, and I looked inside, and there was like cocaine on the floor, and there was like cigarette butts in the front seat, and I'm like, no. And they previously used pictures on their ad that they took like 10 months before when they just got the car. Now, when you go through a dealership, same thing. You have to make sure the cars are clean and everything. They're more apt to being clean than what a private owner has through Craigslist. But if you look inside and there's just dust everywhere and there's something sitting in the cup holder, they're probably like neglecting that car and they're just waiting for somebody to come by and just say, hey, I'm going to buy that car, bye. Also, make sure when you buy a car from a dealership, you buy the car because you like the car. Don't buy a car just because you need a car. Either whether it's to work, school, or whatever kind of activities you do. Make sure you like it. If you like practical cars that are really boring, sure, buy a practical car. Who am I to judge? But if you don't like the car, odds are you're going to get rid of it within the year, and then you're going to regret your next purchase because then it's going to be a whole cycle. Yeah, I'm talking about this because it's happened to me. When you go to the dealership, make sure the dealership is clean. If you see trash everywhere, if you see the pavement has like dirt all over the place and there's just like cracks in the pavement, yeah, I mean, don't judge a book by its cover, but I guess this is a case where you should judge a book by its cover, because honestly, that kind of thing would sketch me out. And there's some dealerships where they just kind of crowd their cars together. They don't move for a while, and sometimes they can't even get the cars out to even drive, so maybe they've just been sitting there for a month. Because if you don't go to a dealership that has credibility behind them, then they don't have any selling history, any good selling history. Go to a place like, for example, I'm going to go talk about through Danbury. Colonial Mazda, Colonial Ford, Colonial Subaru, Danbury Dodge, Danbury Kia, Danbury Honda. Make sure you go to places that have credibility behind them, because then they know what they're doing. They've had experience with this before. They can help you. Last but not least, my pet peeve, the thing I really pay attention to when I go in any store when I'm making a large buying decision, is the salesperson. Because salesperson, you can either walk away with a car that you wanted, or walk away with a car that's 2 times what that other car is worth because that salesman was so good to you. You trust them enough that you're going to buy an expensive car because they know what they're talking about. On this end, buying a car that you actually wanted, a shark is actually going to notice you as soon as you walk in the door. That's a good thing, okay? It's good when a salesperson notices you and talks to you when you walk right through the door. However, anything you tell them, they're not going to care about like what your cat's name is. They're not going to care that your aunt just went over to Florida and you're going to be going to visit her in a year. It's just, they're not going to care. They're just going to be like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, okay, so let's get back to the car buying. They're just going to kind of shrug off anything you tell them, any kind of conversational piece that you're trying to throw at them. Don't deal with that kind of person. You want to deal with a salesman that actually cares about you, that actually wants to know what your preferences are and actually wants to have full-on conversations with you and maybe wants to share their experiences with you. And if you don't have that kind of relationship with somebody that's trying to sell you a very expensive item, then they might just try to throw something at you that is extremely expensive and you're going to spend so much more than you thought, and you're going to regret it because that guy was not a great guy or girl. Then, on the other end, you have the person that wants to actually talk to you and have a conversation with you and build that relationship. They're going to mold their car choices around your decision. Not for them, but for you. They're going to choose cars that you want. Like, let's say your preference is mid-size sedan, I guess. They're going to throw us a 2008 Accord or a 2005 four-door Civic or something like that. But then let's say you like sports cars. They're going to start with the cheap options. Like let's say a Miata. They start out with the Miata, work their way up, all the way to, let's say, a Corvette. Let's say you just wanted that Miata. Let's say you didn't want the power, okay? They're going to throw that, they're going to tell you about it. They're going to go into full detail, and they're going to tell you their experiences they have with it, whether it be good or bad. And then you're going to think, like, he knows what he's talking about. Maybe I should go a couple levels up. Because when you're talking to somebody that knows what they're talking about, you kind of want to go above what you really want. And you've already built this relationship. You trust them. Odds are you can always walk away with something. You can walk away with a Corvette when you had the budget for a Miata. Not good, because, hey, you spent like $60,000 or more. But, hey, you now have a friend when you go back to that dealership. You can go talk to them directly. You don't have to go through somebody else. But that concludes it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.